I think we're going to try to...
Do you want to do the Skype call?
Let's do the Skype call right now.
Jenny's already talking with Rachel.
Here we go, Kerry. Thanks for playing along. New technology. We've got... we have Rachel Roseman who's standing by. There she is.
Okay.
And I see Rachel on that phone too. So Rachel, go ahead and ask your question if you can.
I am a member of both the Seattle queer community and the Jewish community. And my question actually has to do with a topic that did not come up in today's debate. Okay, so as you may or may not know, the Seattle Police Department recently reported that in the first 6 months of 2017 versus the first 6 months of 2016, there was an almost 40% increase in the number of hate crimes and bias incidents in Seattle against the African American community, the LGBTQ community, and the Jewish community. As mayor, what will you do to adequately address hate crimes and ensure Seattle remains a welcoming place for all?
All right, so everybody heard the question. Kerry, you've got the earbuds out first. So you heard the question. What's your answer to what we just heard?
So I just want to acknowledge that hate crimes have always been a problem, but under Donald Trump, who has sown bigotry, fear of other, misogyny, we have seen this crisis happen more and more across every city in the country. And I think the antidote to that is to just lock arms together and protect one another at the city level. And what I mean specifically by that is we need to do more anti-bias training in the police department so the police officers know how to treat people from other communities with respect. And so other communities, whether gay or trans or African American or any person of color, know that the police will treat them with respect and will not be afraid to call when they need help, because that's been a problem in our city. Second, we need to collect more data to understand where this is happening and make sure we do more community policing in those areas and make sure we prevent these problems before they erupt into actual violence. But it's mostly a matter of communities watching out for everyone, and so I think in our city we need to make sure we are all doubling down on anti-bias, anti-racist training, and understand how it's on us to protect one another from these kind of threats, because it's unconscionable, it's completely wrong, it's not what America stands for, and we have to be the progressive city that shows the rest of the country the 180 degrees antidote to Trump. We have to be exactly opposite of what he's doing in our city.
All right, and Jenny Durkan, you also heard the question from Rachel Roseman at the Jewish Federation of Seattle.
Rachel, thank you so much for that question. This is a question that's really personal to me. You know, as an openly gay person, I have struggled on LGBTQ rights literally my whole career. And so when I was U.S. Attorney, the first openly gay U.S. Attorney, one of the first things I did was set up a civil rights department. And one of the things we focused on was both outreach to communities, but also hate crimes, both the education and the enforcement. And so it included, for example, we brought hate crimes prosecution against the person who tried to burn the bar on New Year's Eve on Capitol Hill. And when a Sikh taxi driver was beat up because the person thought he was Muslim, we brought a hate crime prosecution against him. I spent last week, I went up to Lambert House, and some of the people who are hurt the worst are youth queers, because they are the ones that are still trying to decide where to go, what to do, and are some of the most vulnerable. So we have to have extensive outreach to the community. We need to make sure that the police department understands its obligations, but we also have to look about dialogue, because the rise in anti-Semitic language, behavior is really extreme, even in Seattle. You know, recently a synagogue was defaced. And when we talk about, for example, what happened in Charlottesville, we talk about the white supremacy part of it, but we rarely talk about the anti-Semitic part of it. And that was a huge part of that. So we need, as leaders, to address that head on. And as mayor, I will join arms with you and others to make sure that we are a welcoming city. You know, one of the things that I think is special about Seattle really is that we have been this welcoming city. And we are a city of immigrants and refugees of all types. And what we cannot tolerate is for any kind of hate speech. And we got to make sure that in our schools, people understand there can't be bullying, there can't be hate speech. beach, and every part of our city that people feel safe. So thank you very much for that. I think we all got to do it together. A mayor can set the tone, but it's really going to take everyone there at WeWorks to join in with this and make Seattle the place it needs to be. So thank you for that question.